If you clicked on this video, you either have less than 50 Bs, or you're really bad at reading titles. But in this video, I've combined all of the tips and tricks I've learned over my few hours of Beastborn playtime. So if you're early game, mid game, or even end game, I have tips and tricks for every single one of you. We're gonna go over things like the best bees to have in the hive, how to maximize the resources, order in which to get items and event bees, and much more. So if you enjoyed this video or ends up helping you in any sort of way, drop a like and sub, because the more likes this video gets, the more Beastborn players will get recommended this video, so like to help a fellow Beastborn player. But let's start with early game. I made a list of the most important things to do when you're early game and all the items you should buy. So obviously if you're double early game and you're still in the 0B area shop, you should buy every single item here, including all of the gear. You should also buy all of the gear in this 10B area. Get the best tool, the best backpack. You can pick any guard you like. Obviously get the belt and the hiking boots, and the best thing here, the propeller hat. When you're done with that, it's time to upgrade the backpack, so either pick the blue or red backpack. And then the guards. If you don't know much about the game, you might think the only things that matter are tools and backpacks, but no, that's wrong. I would personally skip over this blue guard and go straight for the elite blue guard. You get 50% critical power, 25% blue pollen, 7 defense, and blue bee attack for only 5 million honey and a few resources. Same goes for the red guard. For also relatively cheap, you get all these insane buffs. And this is the #1 tip I see people make, and it's not buying planners. You might think planners are bad because they're so expensive and they take hours to grow, but no, you're wrong. For example, imagine I'm a noob and I just bought my candy planner. If I place in the field I'm grinding in, like for example pineapple, it will grow faster. I will also get satisfying nectar while grinding, and even if you literally have 1 minute of this nectar, you get like times 1.2 white pollen, and it's an amazing buff. And when it's done growing, you also get a bunch of things like jelly beans, honeysuckles, pollen. It's just so worth it to have, and the rewards only get better with better planners. And if you're extra broke, don't forget that the paper planner exists. It only costs 25,000 honey and 1 sunflower seed, which is like pretty much nothing, and even from that you get a few hours of nectar and a few simple resources. I had a discussion with my friend about the best mask to buy, and he said go for the bubble mask, as it is pretty OP, and it's great for doing quests and just overall grinding. But that's also because he recommends going early blue. There are a lot of arguments about going early blue because it's very easy to make honey, but ultimately, I would just say go for whatever hive you want to have fun, because that's the goal of this game. If you're not having fun, what's the point of playing? So bubble mask, fire mask, they're all pretty OP. This one is really good for red, obviously, and honey mask is an overall kind of like a mixed mask, I would say. It's more catered towards white hives, but you obviously cannot be a white hive until you have Gummy Baller and literally 20 billion hours on this game. But yeah, even honey mask isn't too terrible. You get 25% general pollen, which is really good. So just pick any and grind towards it. In the top shop, it's obvious you should get most of the gear. Some also say you shouldn't get the beekeeper's mask. Ultimately, if you want to, and if you feel like grinding is too hard, go for it. It's not too expensive. It's only 20 million honey, 5 enzymes, 3 glue, and 1 glitter. So if you're saving your resources, which you should, I'm gonna get into that a little later, you should be able to afford most of this gear. The one thing I would skip is a spark staff because it's not good whatsoever. You can honestly get the golden rake when you can afford it, and then grind all the way towards the porcelain dipper. And then for hive slots, the logic I like to use when buying hive slots is if you're starting out and you only have like 25 or 30 bees, when you notice that you're not getting the abilities and as much pollen as you should be, and you don't have any bees in your hive that you can roll over like ungifted rares or epics, that's when I would grind towards a hive slot, because any extra bee just exponentially increases your hive. Okay, look at this little graph I made. Imagine this is like 50 bees on this x-axis, and on the y-axis is pollen. Yeah, so as you're getting more bees, it goes like boom. So it's exponential. The more bees you get, the more honey you end up making exponentially. And overall, mid-game is simple. You should honestly focus on a few main things. Do quests and upgrade gear whenever you can. Grind a bunch of polar bear quests as much as you can because all the extra bee energy is going to be super OP. Also lock in on your science bear quest because the sooner you get science enhancement to max, that's literally 775 convert rate. And these quests aren't even hard. I mean, they do take a while when you're starting out, but you probably bang out 10 or 15 of these in like the first few hours of your Beastborn playtime. Go for at least one of every single gifted bee type, even if you plan on being a red or white hive or a blue hive. Don't just get rid of bees that don't follow the hive you want to go towards. And in my humble opinion, everyone should say mixed hive until they get a Supreme Star Amulet, because it's like the most generalizable hive for every single kind of quest, whether it's black bear, spirit bear, polar bear, science bear. It doesn't really matter what quest line you're doing, but but the more mixed bees you have, the easier it's going to be to grind in different fields. And you're going to be grinding all around, from white fields to red to blue. You're going to be everywhere. Level up your moon amulet to max level as soon as you can. Oh wait, this one's actually kind of insane, but I want bond from treats. And this might be a very unpopular opinion, but there is science to support what I'm about to say. I don't even know if this ties into early game because this applies to the first spear petal you're going to get, so I think that's a little more early mid game. But anyway, the science says you should get petal belt first. Even though it's so much more expensive than the petal wand, get this first because it's just going to help so much with the grinding. 50% capacity, more loot luck, more honey from the tokens, pretty much all this stuff. But I think that's more towards mid game, so if you're early game and you literally are struggling to get a single star jelly, not to mention the 25 you need for the petal belt, just ignore that. And remember for when you get your first spirit petal. And I said I'm going to talk about resources, and I think this is the best time to talk about it. So in my opinion, and from what I've done on every single account I've started, and I've started like 4 different ones and got them to end game, do not waste your resources on stupid boosts when you're early game. It might be tempting to just pop a bunch of red extracts, glitters, glue, gumdrops on boosting to make honey, but you're just going to give yourself a lot of problems later on when you are actually trying to buy gear and you realize you literally wasted your life savings on boosts that made you like 50 million honey. So instead of wasting your life savings, what I would do is just cycle through every single field booster, grind that field, use honeysuckles whenever you can, get your daily glue, which is super important. You literally get like 2 to 3 to 5 glues every single day for doing nothing. Also use your daily jelly dispenser. It might not seem like a lot, but those jellies add up. And the last thing I will say for early game is the event bees and which order you should buy them in. The most important bee to get early on is a tabby bee because of the tabby love ability. You will need to collect 1,000 tokens to get this ability to max, and it's permanent, so the sooner you get it done, the better. And tabby is just overall an insane bee. And speaking of tabby bee, I think I said tabby quite a few times. Use the star sheet you get from Mother Bear to gift it. This bee gives 50% critical power, so every single time you get critical pollen or even damage, it does 50% more. It's insane. Then what I would do is Crimson and Cobalt or Photon, whichever you want to get first. There's probably science behind which is better technically, but once again, you know, what's the point of playing this game if you're not having fun and following like a step-by-step guide? Just buy what you want to buy, but get either Crimson and Cobalt or Photon. Then I would get Festive Bee and then Puppy Bee. And also save your stingers. It's okay to use your stingers on stuff like crafting, but never use your stingers for boosting your attack because that's just kind of a waste. You only use stingers endgame for Star Saw, like this. Obviously, if you're buying Riley guards and stuff, it's okay to use singers. But everything else should be reinvested into the Vicious Beast, so get this as soon as you can. It's gonna be a really nice early game attack buff, and it's gonna help you kill stuff like Coconut Crab when you get to that. And this is where we move on to the mid-game section. There's a lot to go over, but I'll try and make this as simple as possible. So around when you hit mid-game, which is, I think, around the 35 bee area, maybe 40 bees, you start getting a sense and a feel for what Bee Swarm is really all about. And it's just strategy and making a good hive composition and having good gear and just learning the simplest mechanics. So I would prioritize getting hive slots and improving your hive. That means leveling up your bees, buying some jellies. But I should point out, don't buy jellies in hopes of getting a mythic bee because it is so rare. If you get a mythic bee along the way, that's good. It's gonna be a really nice extra buff. And event bees are amazing, but don't just spend billions of honey. Like say you just grinded up 5 billion honey. Don't just spend it all on jelly and just do until mythic. You're gonna lose it all most likely. What I would do instead is say you have 1 billion honey, okay? Buy 1,000 jellies and try and go for a new gifted bee type, for example. So just do require gifted, pick a bee which you want to deport from your hive, and start rolling. As you can see, in 2 rolls, I only use 150 jellies, and you still have a chance of getting a mythic bee from this. Same with until legendary, which is why, in my opinion, this is the best strategy to actually improve your hive with gifted bees, and maybe even get mythics along the way. Oh, there we go, spicy bee. Let's hope I remember to fix my hive composition later. And another insane mechanic for both early game and mid game, I really hope the early game players are still watching because I forgot to mention this, but sticker stack. It is arguably the best addition in my opinion, even though people have a lot of opinions about this thing. I think it just spices so many things up and just helps early game players in so many ways. Because, for example, there are so many easy stickers to get. Let me go over some. Rubber Duck gives you tickets. Also gives you rare bee pollen. And the sticker stack buff for a few minutes. For free, just for finding a really simple sticker. Same with all the leaves. You get like 10 extra % capacity. Same with the tools. You're going to be using a lot of tool swinging. That's tool pollen and more tickets. Maybe you get something a little more rare, like a gray cloud. You get blue pollen, cloud vials. That's going to really help. You guys get the point. Despite people hating sticker stack a lot, it's just one extra thing to have in the game. And the fact that you can get any sticker, including some insanely rare ones, just by playing the game and then trading it for something like a free bear bee if you're free to play, that's also amazing in my opinion. The fact that you can get every single game pass free to play and you don't even have to spend any Bobucks. I kind of want to spend some Bobucks. Let's do this. Something else, grind brown bear quests. You can get one every single hour, and if you complete only 100, you get yourself a free mythic egg. I know it sounds like a lot, but you're gonna make a lot of honey along the way, and it's just pretty much passive income. You also get some nice rewards like tickets, jelly beans, also gold and diamond eggs along the way. So yeah, I literally got 500 jelly just for doing this. If I complete only 5,000 more quests, I get myself another 5 tickets. Yay. Now let's talk about what order you should gift your event bees in. I already mentioned you should gift Tabby first. After Tabby, I would gift the Photon Bee. Then I would gift Gummy Bee, which I didn't actually talk about in this video yet, but gifted Gummy ability gives 5 honey per pollen. 5% more honey for every pollen you collect. That adds up over time. And the way you can get a pretty easy Gummy Bee is just don't waste your gumdrops. You get hundreds a day just from killing mobs. If you find a Gummy Sprout, that's like free 50 gumdrops. And then you can also craft them. It's gonna cost you about, let me do some math, like 7,000 of the 3 streets you need to craft gumdrops to get a Gummy Bee, but realistically, if you only craft like 1,000 gumdrops and get the rest just through grinding, it's not gonna be too expensive, and you get a free event bee. I mean, if you gift it, it's gonna be even more insane. Then you need a gifted basic bee. This is pretty common knowledge. This thing is pretty much the best bee in the game. Every single hive should have it, and that's because it gives you 20% pollen, or times 1.2 pollen for all the nerds. But never give a star treat to basic bees. Same with sunflower seeds. It took me like 5 billion honey to get a gifted basic bee, but in my opinion, 5 billion honey is a lot easier to get than something like 1,000 tickets, considering you can always reinvest those same tickets into more event bees and more star treats to get those same event bees. Okay, where do I actually get this thing? Oh yeah, look at all those basic egg buying. Wait, reaction check. That's the reaction of someone who grinded 3 days for a gifted basic bee. As you're getting into mid-game, you should be trying to constantly upgrade your amulets, such as the star amulets. So whenever you get a certain amount of gifted bees, like 20 gifteds or 30 gifteds, get all the star amulets as soon as you can. The Supreme Amulet for the Ant Challenge is, in my opinion, the easiest to get. So just run Ant Challenge until you get a pretty good one. I would recommend having 2 pollen on there, critical chance, critical power, and bee attack. You can have pollen instead of bee attack, but that's up to you to decide. I have an amulet more catered towards endgame. Now would be a good time to point out, once you're mid-game, it would be a good idea to start macroing. I have made a few macro tutorials, so I will link them in the description. But if you can't macro, it's just gonna take you a little longer to progress, or a lot longer to progress, but it's definitely still doable. I got to endgame without macroing once, so yeah, if I could do it, so can you. When you hit early mid-game, a top priority I would set is being able to kill Coconut Crab. The best way to do this is to get your Vicious Bee to level 12, as it's going to be able to do the most damage. Every single ball stinger ability you get for the Coconut Crab is going to do a few thousand damage, so you do that enough times, you can probably kill Crab in like something like 30 minutes, which is a long time, but us Beestorm players don't have lives, so sacrifices need to be made. Going outside or playing Beestorm, the former sounds better to me. And the great thing about Coconut Crab is, it literally gives you such insane rewards. It gives you tropical drinks, star jellies, bitter berries, glitter glue, pretty much anything you can imagine. Ooh, sprout, nice. Oh, micros as well, for those mid-game boosts you're gonna be doing. Now, star jellies are self-explanatory. You need them for the petal gear and also for gifting your hive. And you need a bunch of tropical drinks for the coconut gear. Coconut canister is the best backpack in the game currently, and even though it costs a lot, it's doable. It's not that bad. If you lock in for a few days, you'll be able to get it, and for that, you need tropical drinks. Oh, heart sticker. I missed this. Wow, another duplicate. Nice. But another main focus for mid-game should be spear requests, so make sure you do all 30 of them. Don't waste too much resources on them beside the ones that spear bear forces you to waste. So you can use your first spear petal for either petal belt or petal wands. Whichever one you can afford first, I guess, is probably going to be the better alternative, because you don't want a spear petal just showing in your inventory for days. That's opportunity cost you're wasting right there. Econ 101, I remember that term. And then the third one can just go towards Windy Bee. Now, the reason I say use the third one for Windy Windy Bee is because Windy Bee objectively isn't that good. Now, it's alright, I guess, for sprouts. It's alright for mid-game, maybe early endgame before you actually pick a hive color to do. But you're not going to be using it in most hives. Maybe only blue hive. And what's a gifted buff? Instant white conversion, that's pretty alright. You get white boost tokens. So that is a major upside of the Windy Bee. But beside that, it's not a priority. Petal Wand and Petal Belt should be more up on your priority list. Also, if by some miracle you get yourself a Fuzzy Bee, gift it. Pollen Haze is insane. If you don't have someone to help you grind with a bunch of Fuzzy Bees, which you probably don't in mid-game, I would heavily consider actually gifting Fuzzy Bee. It's gonna make all your flowers extra thick, which might literally just 1.5 extra pollen just like that. But I think I'm done yapping about mid-game, and now it's time to move on to endgame. By endgame, you should know what you're doing. You should have a sense for what a good hive composition is. And for any mid-game or early game players still watching, thanks for sticking around. And let me tell you some insane bees you can use that you'll probably end up keeping in your hive. Carpenters are really good for early and mid-game, so I would not jelly over them. Same with baby bees. I would get 4 baby bees. That's gonna be your only source of baby love, which gives you ×2 pollen beside gifted tadpoles. But gifted tadpoles are a little hard to get early and mid-game, so that's why you should have 4 baby bees. Music bees are crazy. I don't have a single one for some reason, probably because I have bee quips. But Melody, Focus, and Token Link, 3 of probably the most important ability tokens in the game. Every hive needs them, doesn't matter if you're blue, white, or red. So make sure you have that. Looker bee is really good. Commander is absolutely insane. They should be gifted though. And any bee which gives you a pollen multiplier or a capacity multiplier. Make sure you get those. And now moving on to endgame. I already said that. We're for real moving on to endgame. I think now should be the time you choose your hive color that you're gonna go for. The most popular ones are blue or red because they're much cheaper than white. White is the most expensive hive color to switch to. So if you have the ability to macro and you want the easiest possible endgame transition, I would just go for a blue hive. You can macro away for days and make billions and trillions of honey, which allows you to level up your hive. And I really hope by the time you reach endgame, you have been grinding either Riley or Bucko quests, or both, because you need 250 of both the Riley and Bucko quests to buy the respective tools. So if you want Tide Popper, you gotta do 250 Bucko quests. And this is a really expensive tool. It might look intimidating, and it is. It is pretty hard to get. But once again, if you lock in, if you focus your entire life on getting it, you probably will get the endgame tool sooner than later. If you want to actually participate in the game and not macro much, and actually play instead of letting a clanker do all the work for you, I would choose red. It's really fun to do. You get to use precise bees, which are fun to play around with, and actually takes some skill. I'm not saying that blue doesn't take skill, which it doesn't, but red just requires a lot more kind of precision, I should say. It requires a lot more finesse. You actually need a strategy instead of just running around in a square pattern and collecting bubbles and getting trillions. And this will teach you a lot about the very complicated mechanics of Bee Swarm. And if you plan on going for the leaderboard ever, you'll need those skills. Pretty much everyone on the all-time leaderboard is a white hive, and boosting as white is pretty complicated. This is my friend Smarty, who made a boosting video. This is a world record boost. He made 14 quadrillion honey in one boost. And look at how freaking complicated this is, bro. I literally don't even understand what's happening, but wait, let's get to the good part. Oh yeah, in like 1 second, bro went from like 1 trillion honey a second to like 40 trillion honey a second. That's insane. 50 trillion? Wait, is he about to hit 100? Yeah, he hit 100 trillion a second in the main game. Not even in test realm. That's unbelievable, bro. And you gotta get to this skill somewhere. I'm sure he tried out every single hive before you went white. But red is very hands-on. You're gonna be doing a lot of playing, and it's actually gonna be fun. So for white hive, like I said, it's really expensive. I would not recommend if you're early endgame. I would only go white if you're in the already established endgame hive with a bunch of resources, and you probably need like a few quadrillion honey just to switch to white. It is unbelievably expensive. And you should also learn money management. Just like in real life, you can't just be going around spending your honey as you please. I would mix up your budget by spending some of it on royal jelly, a lot of it on treats to try and get your hive to level 18, 19, or 20 as soon as possible. And also grind the robo challenge. Get Digital Bee as soon as you possibly can. It is arguably the best bee in the game, and the sooner you can start grinding drives to become a true endgame player, the better. But honestly, Digital Bee isn't even that hard to get. It's probably going to be getting every single type of drive, but you can probably get it done in a few days and then 1,000 tickets too, but endgame, you should have a bunch of those. And then the hardest part, 7.7 million honey. Good luck with that, boys. If you're endgame, that's the hardest part. Now is one you should probably be macroing consistently. There are a lot of updated macros. I know there are some phone macros people have been using, so if you play on mobile, I think after years of waiting, you've finally been blessed with the ability to AFK grind. And lock in on badges, bro. If you're endgame, if you're grinding towards the endgame tool, you should have most of these endgame badges complete. So just lock in on that. Obviously, exception being mountain badge. It's really hard to get that endgame. I still don't even have it. Same with hive hub. But every other badge you should lock in on. And do your daily tasks. This is a skill I would carry on from early game to mid game to end game. Kill your mobs daily. Stuff like King Beetle, Tunnel Bear. It gives you insane rewards like 5 extracts, 5 tickets. It's not too insane for me. 5 sprouts. But it all adds up. It's called dailying these rewards for a reason because you're doing it daily. Same with all the dispensers. Same with your mob runs. Memory matches too. Don't sleep on the memory matches. And puff shrooms. Even though it might seem scary to do puff shrooms, which it is, I really actually despise puff shrooms. I hate them with a passion. But they're absolutely insane and give you things that you absolutely need for crafting. You're gonna need them to craft the Tide Popper, the Dark Scythe, the Gummy Baller, and all of the planners, which is wax. Puff shrooms are the absolute easiest way to get waxes. And you also get a crap ton of bitter berries and neon berries, which you can use to mutate your bees. I would get bee ability rate on every single event bee, gather on your digital bee, alongside a bee equip that gives you gather amount, and I would worry about mutating the rest of your hive later on because it gets really expensive, even though I can't afford to do it yet. And as mentioned, I have a few bee swarm hours up my sleeve. And always have planners growing. It doesn't matter if you can't macro or not. If you have the ability to AFK in-game, literally just set an auto clicker, put a spoon on your iPad, the planners will grow and you will get tickets and you will get honey and you will get pollen and you will get extra crazy rewards like waxes and stuff. And the most important thing, have fun. I said this 3 times already, but what's the point of playing any video game if you're not having fun? Bee Swarm can be hard to enjoy sometimes, but as long as you have something to progress for, there's always a reason to play. If you don't feel like playing, just don't. But ways to make grinding more entertaining. Join a call with some friends. You want someone to talk to, join my Discord, link in the description. We have quite a few people in here, and I post cool things like this. Definitely not game breaking. I'll let you add this in the main game. Another thing you can do is watch YouTube. You can watch my videos while grinding. I heavily suggest this, as you get entertainment while suffering through B-game, and I get money. And if you only have one monitor, no problem. I went through the same exact issue back in my day. Here I have my YouTube video pulled up, so just drag the top of your screen like this, get into this position, and put your game on the side, and boom, you literally have double monitor for free. Easy. It is a weird perspective, but now I can record a video while playing Bee Swarm and watching myself play a video I already recorded. I should react to myself making a tutorial while playing Bee Swarm while watching another one of my videos on stream. And then I turn that stream into a VOD, infinite money glitch. I will leave as many helpful links as I can in the description. I'll link a few guides as well. Yeah, if you guys enjoyed, make sure you drop a like and subscribe. And if you have any extra advice for anyone in the comments, if you made any mistakes in your Bee Swarm career and you want others to learn from it, or if you have any questions, just drop a comment. I'll try and reply to a few of them. But yeah, let me know what you think of this guide. I tried to go over as many things that I found relevant to my situation and through all the suffering I went through, while mentioning all of the new features such as the sticker stack and digital bee, which isn't that new. But back in my day, I didn't have digital bee when I went endgame. But yeah, I'll see you guys at the next one. Peace.